Manifestation Pod. We are Louise and Sam, two ordinary mums living extraordinary lives through friendship, self-improvement, manifestation, the law of attraction, and a little bit of the magic. We look forward to you joining us on our fortnightly podcast.
Hello, welcome to episode 20 of the Manifestation Pod. I'm Sam Fillingham and I am here with Louise Marshall. Hi, Louise.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing? Let's have a little life check-in.
Well, we've just had a little live check-in. We've spent an hour. We started recording this at 9 o'clock and we're still talking at 10 to 10. So yeah, a little live check-in. What is going on? Well, Christmas feels very, very over, even though we are in the midst of those odd few days in between Christmas and New Year. So I feel like Christmas is done. It's been lovely, really nice, very quiet. But I'm quite looking forward to the new year now. I'm definitely getting New Year vibes. And in breaking news, we had a tornado here last night. No, not last night, the night before. If you saw it on the news, which I'm sure people did, Staley Bridge, we had a tornado. The worst hit road was next to our road. And I just felt absolute gratitude that we have a new roof, new doors and new windows. If we didn't have a new roof, our roof definitely would have gone because it was in such a bad state of repair. So yeah, that's it really.
Grateful for that roof. I was thinking about you and the roof actually and thinking, oh my goodness, thank goodness you had it. And
yeah. And the tornado was like, I mean, it wasn't frightening because I didn't know what was going on. And by the time I kind of realised what was going on, it was all over. So I wasn't frightened. But some of the reports that I read on, like, obviously I'm on local groups like we all are, some of the people that were affected by it were saying things like the windows were shaking. I mean, someone, their windows blew through. She was in bed and the whole window ended up on the bed. People's windows were shaking and the house was shaking and the walls were shaking. Now, thank God I didn't have that. And they're the ones that had like real structural damage. We just had, listen to this though, for a funny story, which I've got to tell you. I got up the next morning and went in the back garden because that's the place where if anything's going to happen, it would happen because there's lots of things in there that aren't kind of secured. And the umbrella from the table and chairs outside was upside down in the fish pond. So as I went to get it out, it had knocked the filter over and the fish pond had drained to about 3 inches. The fish were fine, but there was one fish. Oh, I'm laughing. There's like a little ledge in the fish pond, and my biggest goldfish was on the ledge on its side, as dead as a dodo. And I felt really sad because he obviously suffocated because there was no water. And he couldn't get off the ledge because there was no water. So I was like, oh, we've lost a fish. That's really sad. So then I went to get the hose pipe to fill up the fish pond. So I started filling it up. The fish was swimming around. It was fine. And this fish that was stuck on the ledge, because there was some leaves and things, I had to get him off the ledge and into the pond. So I thought the quickest way to do that would be to squirt the hose pipe at him to get him in it. And then he would float to the top. I could scoop him out.
Yeah.
I put the hose on him. It was quite powerful. It must have shocked him. He came back to life. He just ended up back in the fish pond swimming around.
Oh my God. That was like an episode of like a David Attenborough thing that like you see the baby animal like die and then all of a sudden it comes back to life.
It was bizarre. Yeah. And you looked dead happy swimming. I don't know whether he was happy or just shocked to the core, but yeah, absolutely fine. I was like, oh, it's a miracle.
Yeah, that's magical.
It was. So perhaps there must have been a tiny bit of water on the shelf and he was just lay on his side trying to, I mean, I don't even know how fishes breathe, but yeah. We didn't lose him. So on the news, when it says there was no casualties from the tornado, there really wasn't. Like even that little fishy has survived.
Thank goodness. I'm so glad. Wowzers. I'm so glad you're all okay. And the fish.
And the fish. So what about you? How was Christmas?
It was good. It was calm. It was intentional. It was lovely. I was very present. I spent a lot of time really making sure I was in the moment, enjoying the moment, like
Yeah.
really consciously, and just kind of even little silly things like gazing at the kids more and just soaking it in. So yeah, it was just really nice. Saw the family, good meals, good times, lots of rest, lots of lovely rest, which is really nice. And there's been the odd day where the sun's come out as well, like today actually. And Boxing Day, the sun came out, and I woke up and I was just like, I need to go and find the sun. So I just went to like the highest hill in town. I literally chased the sun. I got so high, and then I was like, no, it's not high enough. I need to be like really high up, properly soak it up, because I feel like we've not had sunshine here for about 3.5 weeks, or even a blue sky. So yeah, I had a beautiful morning Boxing Day. Walked up to Cobra Cross and soaked up the sunshine, and then got lost in a farmer's field that I couldn't get out of, which was really good fun, because I've been like, oh yeah, I'm in the flow, I'm just following my instincts, and I'm like, I'm lost. Some lovely walkers helped me wedge open a farmer's gate, so I escaped. So yeah, it's been really nice. And like you, I'm just really starting to feel now the pull of next year, like
Yeah.
pull to set some goals and start bringing them in, because like it's really not far from that now, is it? So
No, it isn't. And I think I've did some goals. I think it was just before Christmas. I started thinking about what I wanted to do in the new year. Um, but I think our Christmas was very intentional as well. And I noticed with presents this year, I didn't spend as much money as I normally do. And I think that was because Charlotte didn't want a main present. There was nothing she wanted. Like normally it's a big thing, and there wasn't this year. So she got lots of smaller things. But because there wasn't a main present, the little ones, I was really intentional about her presents, and every single present she loved, which we don't normally get.
yeah,
She's always grateful, but she doesn't love them. But I feel like every present I bought this year was so well thought out.
yeah,
And that was quite nice and very different to what I normally do. I normally go a little bit crazy at Christmas, but yeah, that was good. And that's really made me think about less being more, and
yeah,
not trying to do a million things. And that's kind of bled into my goals of not, I looked through, in order to prepare for this episode, I looked through my goals list of last year, and oh my gosh, yeah, there were absolutely loads. There was like 50 goals. There was about 10 different categories, and then it was all very efficient, and slightly control freaky. And I think this year I've got 5 goals, and I'm going to be a little bit more intuitive with them, and kind of see where we end up with them, and not be quite as militant
yeah.
in making them happen.
That sounds good. It does. Before we go into the goals, that reminds me about like money and Christmas. I felt like everything was so different in how I thought about Christmas as well. And even,
Really?
yeah, the build up to it, and just the thought that I put into it, and the fact that I didn't have any of the like negative mindset around the money, around it. I think previously I'd be thinking whatever I'd bought was not enough, and I didn't have enough, and I didn't have much. So then leading up to it, I'd do stupid things like buy extra, or, just buy rubbish, even just to
Yeah.
make myself feel better in some way. And I didn't feel any of that at all. I didn't feel the pull. I didn't feel lack in any way. I felt just so grateful. And the things I enjoyed most, like you say, were the simple things. Like I baked biscuits as a present, and I got some really nice little bags to put them in, and tissue paper, stuff that I already had, that had been in my Christmas box for a long time, but I'd never used. And the act of making those biscuits and wrapping them for people, like I just absolutely love. Those are the little things that
Yeah.
make Christmas special, like thinking about people and doing little things like that. So yeah, there was just loads of little moments like that where I was just so grateful that my whole being around money and this time of year has changed. It felt like when you move into a new house and you're cycling through the year and it's all
Mhm.
new. That's what Christmas felt like to me this year, of like my whole thoughts, feelings, and processes around it all have completely changed in a really positive way.
That's really good. And I think as well, if you tie everything back to that time at Alton Towers with the food that you didn't want that was overpriced, but for some reason you felt poor because of that, it's the same with Christmas. I think we all forget what, without sounding, like one of those people, I think we all forget what it's truly about. And what I found this year with the presents, because I was so intentional about what I was buying, I really put thought into, like, I found this notepad for my mum, which I knew she'd love, and it had a really funny quote on the front. It said, "A list of things. This is my notebook for a list to write a list of things that I was right about." Because my mum has that like mentality that she's right about everything, like a lot of people's mums do. I thought, oh, she's going to love that. It'll be really funny, and she did. And with Charlotte, normally, and I don't know why we do it. And for me, it's not from lack, but I just feel like, oh, it'd be fun to get loads of big stuff, loads of expensive stuff, loads of, you know. And this year I didn't. And one of her favourite presents, and I never do things like this, she went to a sleepover with one of her friends. It was a friend's birthday, and they had a sleepover of 10 girls. They're like best friends at school. And Daisy, whose sleepover it was, her mum had took a picture of all the girls in the pajamas with the balloons behind them, like a dead nice picture, just all the girls with their arms around each other. I went to Boots and printed it off. I never do this. It cost me 60 pence. I went to IKEA and bought a picture frame for, I think, £1.20, and I put it in there and I wrapped it up for her for Christmas, and she absolutely loved it because I never do things like that. Because I've always been lacking in time. With me, everything's time sensitive and time precious. So I'm like, oh, I'll get something off Amazon, and I'll get this and I'll get that. And to go to Boots and figure out, because I'm a technophobe, how to get a picture developed, you know, it wasn't even that much of a faff. I did it in my lunch hour at work. I went to IKEA. I had to go anyway for something else. And I had tea while I was there. And then I was like, well, actually, I don't need to cook tonight. So, yeah, and she loved that. And I definitely think I've bought more thoughtful presents this year. I haven't bought things for the sake of it,
Yeah,
because I think that's my thing. And I think your thing is the lack. But if you've bought or made or gifted or whatever intentional presents that you think people would love, it really doesn't matter how much money they cost.
yeah, exactly. And it's weird, isn't it? Because before, like, the thought of lack was stopping me doing those things that cost absolutely nothing, that I had all
Exactly.
the stuff there already for. And it's like, it's really kind of sad in a way, isn't it? That like a feeling of lack can stop you enjoying the abundance that's right in front of you that doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And baking with your child, if I set, and me and Charlotte have been meaning to do this, but we haven't, we might do it in the next couple of days. We want to bake ginger biscuits, but baking with your child, they will remember that.
Yeah.
They will remember that more than a present you bought them that you spent an afternoon baking. Because if Charlotte says, oh, mummy, can we do baking? I
Yeah.
go, oh, really? Yeah, if you want, but it's very reluctant. I don't want to. It's messy. It's time consuming. But actually, that's the stuff she wants to do, and I've been very much more on board with things like that this Christmas. She said on Christmas Day, "Can we play?" I bought her a new game for a Nintendo Switch. Can we play my game? And I was like, "Yeah." And usually, I mean, we had a very, very different Christmas Day this year. I didn't have a dinner. Um, I've never been bothered about Christmas lunch. I am going to do one on New Year's Day, but Charlotte had lunch with her dad. So I did brunch for me, my mum, and Charlotte on Christmas morning. And then we watched her open her presents. And then we just played for hours. And I know that Charlotte loved that, but normally on Christmas Day, I mean, I've not cooked a dinner in years, but we'll go out for dinner. So Christmas morning is getting up, opening presents. But then as soon as that's done, I'm like, right, I need to go and have a shower. I need to, go and get ready. And because it's Christmas Day, I feel like I need to make a bit more effort. And then I need to get her in the shower and get her dressed, and she needs to make a little bit more effort. I took her to her dad's in the pajamas on Christmas Day. I mean, the kid didn't get dressed. She was fine. And we just played. It was really, really nice. I felt so relaxed all day. And I don't feel relaxed on Christmas Day usually. I always feel like I'm letting someone down. I feel like I'm letting Charlotte down because we don't have much time to play with presents in the morning. And then I feel like I've not made quite as much effort with how I'm looking because, I want to play with her. And this year was amazing.
That's good. So you've got the gift of time on Christmas Day by the sounds of
I
it.
have. And time is something that I've definitely worked on the last few weeks to not be 100 miles an hour. I don't need to be doing everything. I don't need to be maximizing my efficiency at home. And I think I've been quite fixated with that this year because I've been so goals driven. I've become a little bit like a machine. And I'm definitely going to, the last couple of months of this year, I've definitely slowed down more and been a bit more intuitive and a bit more go with the flow and a bit more see what mood you're in and what you want to do and where it takes you. That served me really well. So I'm definitely going to do more of that next year.
Brilliant. Oh, it's exciting. Should we talk about our goals then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you going to go first?
Can do, yeah. Yeah. So we talked last time, didn't we, about how we were simplifying our goals. So tried to do that. And I've not written them out like fully, but there's a few that are really like have been ever present in my mind the last few weeks. And I think I want to center them around like physical goals, a wealth goal, travel, and relationship. Those are like my themes. So the first one on my list, I think I talked about this on the pod, this like magical £50,000 figure. I've really got a vision that I'm receiving an unexpected £50,000 into my bank account. I don't know where, I don't know why, but so that's one of the wealth goals that I'm working on. So yeah, let's see what happens with that one. That'll be interesting.
Interesting. That would be exciting. Can you imagine?
I know that would be phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I don't know if it's like the figure of like that would pay off all my debts and leave enough for some other stuff. I don't know, but whatever it is, I did a manifesting course in the middle of the year with Manifestation Babe off of Instagram. And she does this really good visualization process. And I've had the visualization of that happening, like literally going to the cash machine up close to me and seeing that balance on the screen and thinking, well, I'll just take out 250 now and go and do some really intentional things with that, because when do you ever take 250 cash out? So I'm just going to keep working on that vision and just see what happens with it.
I love it.
My next one, my physical goal is I really, really want to focus on my physical health this year. Like I've neglected it this last year. So I'm going back to a weight and inches goal, and I'm going to say it on the pod for accountability. And I would never normally share it so publicly, but I'm doing it because then I will come back to it myself and it will keep me accountable. So yeah, I want to lose 43 pounds and 43 inches by my 43rd birthday on the 1st of December. That's my really specific physical goal. And I know a lot of us set like health goals, don't we, in January, but this one it's got like a real mental thing about it with me as well. Like I've always struggled with my weight, but up to my 40th birthday, I had a 40 by 40 goal.
I remember that. When you said those numbers, I thought, I'm sure we've done something like this before.
Yeah. And I worked with a nutritionalist all year and hit it, like absolutely smashed it by then. And what happened then was that I started to realise that when I'm at a healthy weight, I just don't feel like physically safe in my body. It's very like deep trauma related. So I've not kept that up at all and gained weight again. And now I've been working on that like physical safety. So I'm really positive that like next year will be the time when I can actually like feel really good and safe in my body a physical way and keep that and maintain it. So yeah, that's my physical goal for next year.
I like that. That's similar to, so we've just talked before we came on the pod about money, and we talked about how I have some kind of blockage around being wealthy, because when I was wealthy, I perhaps didn't maybe like, well, actually at the time I loved who I was, but looking back now, I wouldn't like to be that person again. And I think that gives me a blockage around being wealthy again. But actually, I'm not that person. I'm a completely different person, and it's all fine anyway. But maybe you're like that with weight. Maybe your blockage is around being the weight you want to be,
Yeah.
because of something that may happen at that point. But actually, if you aren't safe in your body, or you're not feeling safe in your body, you're not going to feel safe in your body, regardless of what that body is.
Yeah.
So you may as well be the weight you want to be. You can either be the weight you want to be and work on that, or you can be the weight you don't want to be and work on that. Either way, it doesn't really matter.
No, it should come hand in hand, shouldn't it? The more I work on this like physical safety and embodiment on myself, the easier it should be to get to like whatever that healthy weight is for me and keep it. Because like you say, it shouldn't matter. And I do
Yeah.
feel like I am making like big strides in this. Like we talked earlier, didn't we, about this magical qigong class that I'm going to, and what the first time I went to it, Claire, who runs it, one of her mantras, because it's not just qigong, it's mantras, it's music, and one of them is like take up space. And it really like hit me in that first class because like as a larger person, I've actually spent most of my adult life trying not to take up space, like both physically and mentally. Like when you go into, I don't know, a train or a plane as a bigger person, you actually try and shrink yourself. Like it's not physically possible, but you do because you don't want to be like seen as bigger. You don't want to be like, I don't know, you don't want the seatbelt to not fit. You don't want to overstretch the seat and rub onto someone else just because of your size. So I spent a lot of my adult life trying not to take up space in places. So when she said that in the class, it was kind of like someone's just given me permission to take up space. And it's really resonated and hit, and I'm really starting to feel it in my body as well as my mind.
Do you know what's bizarre about that, though? Obviously, I haven't got any weight issues in my head, if you know what I mean by that.
Yeah.
What's interesting by that whole, and people listening to this who don't know maybe what you look like,
Yeah.
you are making yourself sound as if you are a person who is, you see programs about extreme weight loss and people are 37 stone and they need airlifting out of the house to leave that. That's how you're making yourself sound.
Mm.
And that's obviously maybe what's in your head. Whereas the reality of this, and I think I've said this, if somebody said, like, how big are you and how big is Sam?
Mm.
I would always say, like, oh, I'm like a fat 10 and Sam's like a fat 12, maybe a 14. Maybe I'm really a fat 12 and you're maybe really a fat 14. But that's all I'd ever say.
Yeah.
It's not. It's clearly an emotion thing, because you are so much bigger in your head. You're
Mm.
sounding big in your head, and you're not. So that's interesting from an outside perspective. Me and you are mates. I know we've talked about this over the years and stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's just I've never heard you talk like that before, and
Mm.
you don't need to make yourself smaller because you're not actually that big.
This is it, isn't it? Yeah, it just shows like how emotional it is, all this physical.
And how it's in your mind as opposed to the physical. We've just talked as well about, which is interesting, about how we can't fix everything within our minds. Some of it is physical, and yet you're the flip of that. You really need to fix that in your mind and ignore the physical.
Yeah, it's true. It is, and we have talked about this over the years. And you do get through to me on this because I always remember in our early IKEA days, I said something to you like, "I really want to have 8 meatballs, but I'm scared of what people will think about me or something, or like it makes me think like people think I'm greedy." And you were like, "I would never think that. I'd just be like, oh, you're probably really hungry. Have 8 meatballs." And it was just really like, I just really remember that moment of thinking, what I think about me and what I'm eating and what the world thinks about me is never true, is it? Like, but it was just really struck me as I thought you as like, I see you as someone like way smaller than me. I even thought that you would think that of me because I didn't know you that well. I always think that like a smaller person would be like, oh my God, you're dead greedy, 8 meatballs instead of 4.
The thing is, as well, I mean, gosh, I was a lot smaller then, but I would never have any even opinion on how many meatballs you've put on your plate. I probably wouldn't even look at how many meatballs, let alone count them, because the other thing is as well, and this is very symptomatic of anyone who has an issue within themselves.
Yeah.
We're all the same. We all think that people have an opinion on what we're doing or how we're acting. No one gives a shit. No one's looking at it because people are too much in their own head about their own stuff going on. I could say when I had Charlotte, I was looking at pictures actually. I was 7.5 stone when I had Charlotte. I mean, that's not through choice. It was just what it was. I didn't eat when I was pregnant because I was ill. But people could have looked at me and gone, "Oh, she's only got 4 meatballs. She's anorexic." But I never had that in my head because I've never given it a thought any more than I would think how many meatballs you've got. And I don't think people do that. But again, I think you're coming at it from a I'm an obese person point of view. The person that I would think would have that in the head is someone who weighs 32 stone and ate 60 meatballs. That person might get a few people thinking, possibly myself included, Jesus, that's not good.
Yeah.
But nobody will think that about you because you're an average person.
Yeah.
We're all on a scale and we're all different and our bodies are different. But you talk as if me and you are mountains apart, and we're not.
I know, no, I just think that's the way the world has always made me feel, and from a really young age, because I've been like overweight. If you think back to like when you got weighed at school, like I was told right away there, like seriously overweight, what are you doing about it? And various things then growing up was the world telling me that I was really overweight.
Yeah. You see, I don't even remember being weighed in school.
Yeah, I do, really do. Yeah. So
But as
yeah.
an adult, you're someone who absolutely flies by the seat of your own pants. You make changes that other people wouldn't make. You show bravery in the whole when you left your job and you set up on your own. I mean, that's massive. And you've made a success of it. You're self-sufficient. You've done that. See, it's not like you give a shit what people think generally. You go to these, you're quite woo woo. I can't think of a better way to say it. You're quite woo woo. You're more woo woo than I am. And you've never quite rightly apologised for that or felt the need to explain it. So why would you apologise for
Yeah, exactly. Because
anything else?
I really don't care about what the world thinks about me. So this is internalized,
Yeah. And
isn't
you're
it?
very accepting of other people and that I'm if we call you at one end of the woo-woo scale and I'm at the control freak scale, you never say to me, well, why are you a control freak? You know, you don't need to be like that. Do it my way. And I don't say to you, well, be less woo-woo and be a bit more. We accept who we are. Most decent people accept people for who they are. So that applies to weight as well. I mean, we do live in, you know, I'm not stupid. We do live in a very body conscious society. But I've struggled with my weight since lockdown. I'm definitely bigger than, I mean, when I had Charlotte, I was very skinny. And then life continues and, you know, you become who you are again. But after lockdown, I've put on weight and I probably feel more like you do than you even realise, because people as well, you think of me probably as a thin person and you think of yourself as a non-thin person, but they're just thoughts that aren't actually even true.
Yeah, exactly. It's mad, isn't it? It is.
Yeah.
A very, very vulnerable share for the pod.
It was, but do you know what? Good for you, because I bet there's loads of people like that. I used to have a friend years ago called Claire, and she was very emotional about food, and all food was good or bad because she was brought up that way. If she couldn't just go and pick a meal. It was, oh, that's bad and that's a good choice. And it was very in her head. And I never understood it then. I was a lot younger, a lot. I'd never ever struggled with weight. So I just didn't understand it. And I'd just be like, just eat what you want. You don't need to think of it as good and bad. Just eat what you want. But obviously, you know, we're in our 20s. It was very black and white for me and it wasn't for her. But the point I'm making is for you sharing this publicly, it's a good thing because there's probably lots and lots of people like that. Because there's more people that are unhappy with the weight than that are happy with the weight.
Yeah, yeah. And I suppose like saying it out loud, you know, even just to you, never mind the pod, it's, you know, will help me be more accountable and aware of it as well. Because as you're saying this, like little things are flashing in my mind of like even recently where I'm just walking around and I'm aware of my size and now I'm just thinking, why am I even thinking about it? Why am I even thinking about it?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a thing that I'm thinking about. So
And maybe what you should do is do a little experiment. I'm all for fake it until you make it in certain situations because I absolutely believe in it. So when I was a teenager, a young teenager, I hated my body. I was as thin as a rake. I had quite knobbly knees. I had a big nose. I had a terrible haircut at one point, and I just hated my body. I had such a poor, poor body image. And after a while, I can't remember how or why, but I watched a film with Demi Moore in it, and I decided that I looked like Demi Moore. I didn't look anything like Demi Moore. We had dark hair, and we were petite. That's where it starts and ends the comparison. But because I pretended it for such a long time, I used to watch Demi Moore do like a hair flick in a film, and I'd do the hair flick, and I'd do some of her mannerisms to the point that I avoided mirrors because I just thought I'm Demi. I didn't want the mirror showing me the truth. But what happened with that, I sound like quite deranged saying this, but I wasn't. I knew I was doing it. But it made me confident. And because it made me confident, boys started noticing me. And the more boys started noticing me, the more my confidence grew. And then by the time I was like 16 and 17, I mean, when I left school, I got loads of male attention. Because some men are just quite, you know, you're thin and you're a certain type. But that all started from me faking it. I got no attention when I was walking around hiding myself because that's what I used to do. No attention whatsoever. Um, so I think you should go out, go on a walk somewhere public like into Buxton Town Centre, and pretend you're a size 10 and just see how people react to you. They'll either react to you differently or they'll react to you in exactly the same way they do when you think you're a size 50. Because actually, all that's happening when you're walking around is what is in your head. That's not making the reality any different. So I think you should just pretend to be a size 10 for a bit and see what happens.
I'm willing to give it a go.
I mean,
Faking it till you make it is just like a visualization, isn't it? It's being
yeah,
something you want to be in the moment when you're not quite there. So like, I totally
yeah.
believe in it. So I'll give it a go and I'll report back.
Yeah, that's really exciting. I love doing like physical experiments. They so feel good, and there's some like about. I've been on courses at work years ago. I'm sure you have, where if you walk down in a street in Manchester and you smile at people while you're walking, count how many people smile back.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
amazing. It's such a good experiment. It's amazing because everybody smiles at you. Some people even speak to you and go, "Good morning,"
yeah.
because you're presenting something different.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? It really is. Yeah. Well, I'll report back and let you know how I get on.
Love it.
Oh, I didn't get very far with my goals list today. It's clearly a big one. Clearly a big one. I'll whittle through the last few. So I put some kind of pod event because me and you want to do some kind of event related to the pod, don't we? So that's
Yeah,
definitely on there. I've not put any more thought into it than that because we need to think about that a bit more, don't we?
yeah.
But and then I put this one's about you as well, Lou. Retreat with Lou, brackets, Bali. Because over my birthday, when we said like, let's just do a retreat, me and you, like a spa break, and then I was like, that's too small. Let's just think big, big. Because we have joked about going to Bali on a retreat at some point
Yeah,
during last year. So now I'm like, that is going on the goals list. Fuck
love
it.
it. Yeah,
There you go. I'm swearing because I'm just like, do you know what? Why not put it out there? And then the day after I started thinking about that, I actually saw a mother and daughter retreat to Bali. And I thought,
be
oh my
amazing.
gosh, maybe it would even be that. Who knows? It's going on the goal list. So,
Do you know what? That'd be really good because the thing when you said about Bali, I think, did you email me or I can't remember, but I did know about this. My first thought was I always struggle with having holidays on my own because we only get so many holidays a year, and I always feel guilty if I don't holiday with Charlotte. I mean, I say I feel guilty. I've only ever done it once, and it was only for 3 days, but but hey ho. Yeah, we should. And mother and daughter want to be amazing.
it would be really good, wouldn't it? It would be phenomenal.
Because that would kind of tick two boxes,
Yeah.
wouldn't it? That would be some really good quality time spent with the girls, and the girls spending time together and doing something that they enjoy. Because they're getting into stuff like this now, aren't they? Like,
Yeah.
pampering and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it would make it easier for me and you to go as well, in a way, wouldn't it? Because you've not got any of that thought of like how long are we
Absolutely.
away from them and logistics and
Yeah. Who's going to have a
yeah, yeah, exactly.
hi? I'm just going to Bali.
I just have all the like, what will Carl and George think? Bless them. I'd have to do something else for George. But anyway, it's going on the goal list. So.
Yeah, put it on.
um, I've also been having this dream about doing a yoga nidra at like Happy Place Festival or Glastonbury. I've got this vision of like a field full of people lying down and me on a stage delivering yoga nidra to them. So that's going on my goals list.
That's amazing.
That would be good, wouldn't it? And then after that, I need to narrow these down a bit more, but I've just put speak my truth in all areas of my life because I think there's still a couple where I still struggle speaking my truth all the time. So that needs to come through really strongly next year, I think. And then something spiritual. I've put go on a shamanic journey. I don't fully know what that is, but it sounds amazing. I don't want to do it. So I meant to Google it before we came on, but something like that basically takes me back to like, I don't know, past lives, my soul, stuff like that. That's the thing that I'm thinking of, something to delve deeper into my soul. There we go.
Love it.
That's my little list.
Well, mine are very boring, really. So we talked about this before. I felt very burnt out at the end of last year by self-development because I feel like last year I did so much work on myself, so many goals, and I do feel burnt out. I've not picked up a book over Christmas about self-development. So I think I'm having a little break. I'm having a little break from life at the moment, anything businessy. I'm not doing my business at the moment. I'm very much on holiday until January. Um, so next year I want less goals, but I want more intention and meaning towards each one. So some of them, I mean, I've put my number one goal is the house. I need to get the house finished because when I bought this house in summer, well, I bought it in April, I think we moved in. So not important anyway. It was very, very warm weather. And because this house is south facing, it's got a south facing garden, we really embraced the outdoor life and we felt like we had an outside room constantly. The patio doors were always open. It was everything I wanted. However, now winter's hit and we don't have the outdoors. The house is, I'm not going to dress it up, it's a shit tip. I've had a new roof, I've had new doors and windows, which is pretty much into the budget for anything else. But my kitchen is falling apart. I knew it needed loads of work, but dear God, it needs so much. So I need to crack on with that. Last year, I was feeling like, oh, it's fine because we've got all this lovely outdoor space. Whereas now it's winter, I'm like, I can't live in a kitchen that literally every day, no, every week, a cupboard falls off or a piece of wood just falls on the floor or what happened on Christmas Day, the hob stopped working. I've no idea why. I think it's an electrical fault. So yeah, the house is definitely my number one thing. My second one, I feel like the more I work on inside Louise, the more outside Louise is just falling by the wayside. So 2024, I am going to upgrade my image. I've been saying this for years. To be fair, it's not really been anything that I've been overly concerned with for the last few years. But I also think when I look at pictures of pre Charlotte, and even when Charlotte was very young, I'm not saying I look glamorous, but I look decent. Now I live in jeans, I live in tracksuit bottoms. I'm a prime example of a mum who needs Gok Wan in her life, of somebody who's just gone, I'm a mum, it's comfy, I'm wearing what I'm wearing, I am that person. But within that, I've also put on weight. And I have to say, none of this is particularly bothering me at all. I don't really care that much. However, I do think I want to feel better on a day-to-day basis when I look in the mirror. I would like to look in the mirror like I used to and go, oh, looking good today, Lou. I look in the mirror and I look fine, I look clean, I look respectable and presentable, but that's it.
Yeah.
And where was I the other day when I looked at my naked back? Jesus Christ, I've got like a fat back. What? I didn't even know that was a thing. So yeah, that really, really made me think. I looked in the mirror and I do not recognise myself. What is inside is not replicated on the outside. And I do think, unfortunately, I think because of the business and things like that, we are online more, even if it's not for me, even if it's for followers, I just want to look better than I do. It's just as easy to put on decent clothes as it is to put on shit clothes. I want to choose decent, but to choose decent, I need to buy decent, and I don't. I just buy jeans and jumpers. I've got, someone said to me last week, how many sweatshirts have you got with a city from the United States of America? And I said, oh, I don't know why. And they said, because that's the third one I've seen you in a week. So I've got a sweatshirt with Chicago wrote on it. I've got a sweatshirt with, I don't know, California. I don't even know what they are. I don't look at them, but apparently I've got an abundance of these things now. So yeah, so image definitely going to work on. So nothing drastic. I'm not going to start, getting my lips done or anything like that. Just literally clothes and weight I'm going to work on next year. So I feel like I've nailed diet. I've been, I mean, apart from Christmas, we'll just ignore the amount of chocolate I've ate. But prior to Christmas, most of last year, definitely the last half, My diet is really good. I'm loving it. I'm loving the food I'm eating. It's healthy, it's nutritious. I feel like I don't need that on my goals list because that is the norm now. And I feel like exercise was getting to the norm until we hit winter. So my goal for January is in the summer, I'm really healthy and active, but I'm not in the winter. So I need to find things to do in the colder times. And I need to lose 1.5 stone. That's my goal. I'm writing it down. I don't actually know how much I weigh because I haven't got scales, but I think I'm about 11, and I think I need to be about 9.5. Is that 1.5? Working finance, can't even work it out. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So that's that one. And so I've got one of image and one of weight, which is kind of under the same bracket. And the next one is business, and I really need to think about my business in the new year, and I need it to take off. So it took off a little bit last year, but I need to. I've got targets. I'm not going to broadcast them now simply because I've not decided what they are yet, if I'm being perfectly honest. But I need to focus and cut through all the mist and go towards what I want.
That sounds good. And going back to the like weight and image one as well, again, like I always see you as super glam. Like I always feel like I need to pay more attention to my image because I want to feel as glam as you when we get together.
I
Not in a
never.
bad way, in a good way, in a like you inspire me to wear better things.
That's crazy, isn't it? Because I do not feel glam. And I think this is about how I feel. Even though I say I don't care, and I don't really care, but I do feel like a bag of shit most of the time. Even though I wear makeup, I'm hit and miss with it, but I wear makeup, but that doesn't make me feel better because I don't know. I don't know what it is. Something has definitely got lost along the way of, oh bless you, parenthood. But I look at other people. Been to Manchester twice over Christmas with my friends. Oh, I need to go to Manchester more because I have no ideas about what to wear or how to put outfits together or what would look good. And then I go to Manchester City Centre, and within minutes, I'm like, oh, that looks good. Oh my God, that looks good. That looks good. That looks good. And it's people of different ages, but there's a lot of people who look good that are my age.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not very inspired because I'm quite good at doing things. If I had an idea of what I wanted, I'd just go and buy those clothes and wear them. It's not difficult, is it? But I definitely have a block around this, and I've had it since I've had Charlotte. I don't know. Prior to Charlotte, I had lots of going out clothes, dressing up clothes because I went out constantly. I had great work clothes because I dressed up for work. I wore heels to work like my entire life. That just seems like ridiculous now. And I had clothes for like if you go out for lunch or go out for meals during the day. What I didn't have was any casual clothes because I wasn't a casual person. And now I still don't really have any casual clothes. I just have jeans and sweatshirts and I live in them. And I'm at the point now where I went to the Panto yesterday. I would have definitely dressed up for that at some point and done my nails and wore something really nice because I knew we were going out for food afterwards. What did I wear? My jeans and a different sweat. Oh no, I had a vest top on with like an off the shoulder slouchy jumper over the top, which would have looked great. So that's definitely like a signature style that I've had for a long time. But when you wear an off the shoulder slouchy jumper when you're a size 8, it looks cool. When you're what am I these days? A fat 12 maybe. It just fitted snugly. So that isn't a good image because I just look like a well-fitting jumper and a pair of jeans. It's not a look, is it?
Well, I don't know if I saw you yesterday, I would have been like, oh, Louise looks gorgeous today. Like, and I'm just in my old jumper and jeans. So it's like
So
perception again, isn't it?
It is, and I think it's all relative. So I was out with my friends. Well, I was out with like lots of people yesterday. We all went to the panto, but there was only me, Kate, and Amy who went for food afterwards with the kids.
Mm.
And Amy, I don't even know what she had on because she had two small children to look after, and she was a bit all over the place. So I can't even remember what Amy was wearing. Although actually, she'd have a really nice, like rainbow coloured jumper on. But Kate is very glamorous
Yeah.
and petite, and she had a blouse on, like a shirt in a really nice bright blue. And yeah, she looked amazing. And I said to her, I was like, "You look fabulous."
Yeah.
And we had a conversation about clothes, and she said she's got loads of going out clothes she doesn't wear, and we had a conversation about how our wardrobes just don't serve us. So I think we're all the same. There's a sketch, to Ronnie's sketch about rich and poor, and the poor man looks up to the middle class man, and the middle class man looks up to the rich man. And I think we're like that with clothes.
Yeah.
Like there are people that we kind of maybe look at and go, "Oh my God, I want to be like that." But that person's looking at the next person and going, "I want to be like that." Never stops.
No, exactly. And all of it's like an inside job, isn't it, when you think about it? So maybe I will throw your challenge back to you and say, before you go and buy some clothes, get back to your Demi Moore confidence about yourself. Bring that feeling. Walk down the high street in Manchester or Stalybridge or whatever, feeling like Demi Moore, or if there's a new equivalent that makes you feel more confident, do that
Yeah.
first before the clothes.
I love it. I
Then
love the challenge.
trapped in that inner feeling, because if you bought the clothes and didn't bring that vibe, then it won't last, will it? Oh, are you still there, Louise? Have we lost you? I think we've lost Louise. I think it was the Demi Moore challenge. Too much. See if she comes back. Are you out there, Louise? We're back. We're back. Louise's laptop died, but we're back. Sorry about that.
I'm so sorry. Honestly, if you'd have seen my face, I was literally like, "No." Yeah, it wasn't plugged in, and I think it was on half a battery, which I didn't know at the beginning of logging on this morning, and I just didn't charge it. I'm so sorry. But yeah, we're back. So I think we're finishing saying that I'm going to do a physical challenge of I'm going to walk around like I look fabulous. I need to upgrade my Demi Moore though, because I don't really resonate with Demi anymore. I need to find someone else. So I need to think of somebody who, yeah, I'm going to have to think about that, and I'll tell you who it's on the next pod.
Yeah, tell us, yeah, and embody them walking down the street. And then, yeah, cool. And yes, your business goal, yeah, totally going to smash it in 2024. No doubt. We look forward to finding out what that's going to be and where you take it. It's exciting.
Yes. And maybe what we could do as well, like when we do a catch up at the beginning of each pod, maybe we do a little like goal catch up on like where we're up to with things. Not everything. I don't mean like list everything of what we've done and what we're doing, but just if we've done something, if we've hit a milestone towards it, like you're 43. You know, if you've done you've got a 5 or you've got a 10 or whatever, you could talk about that, and I could talk about whichever gorgeous celebrity I'm impersonating, how that's going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's keep coming back to them, and that will help us achieve them, won't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. So, yeah, that was episode 20 of the Manifestation Pod. Tell us about your goals. What are you doing in 2024? We'd love to hear about them and have a chat over Instagram or whatever. Yeah, so come and tell us about your goals. And we're working on a little idea around doing a book together over the pod as well, aren't we? So we might bring that back to the next episode, hopefully. We'll see how it goes. But otherwise, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank you so much for listening to the pod. we looked today and we'd reached 2,000 downloads today. So thank
Wow,
you. Thank you.
2,000.
I know, it's amazing. So thank you for listening and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yeah, when this goes out, it will literally go out on New Year's Day, which feels very auspicious. So that's good. And also on New Year's Eve, the date is 3, 1, 2. No, it isn't. Oh, God, ignore me. There's a day which is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Is that New Year's Day?
31st of the 12th, 2023.
Thank you, Sam.
So yeah, there's a lot of numbers in there.
Oh my God, that was horrific. The trouble with a pod that's very, very raw is sometimes I need to write things down rather than just try and remember them and then get it wrong. That was like telling a joke and forgetting the punchline, so apologies. But anyone who listens to this who knows me knows that I'm full of stuff like that. So hey ho.
Be a good day and a good year. So bring it on. Bring on 2024. Happy New
Absolutely.
Year, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Manifestation Pod with me, Sam Fillingham, and Louise Marshall. Please follow, subscribe, and rate our pod. Share with friends to support two ordinary mums living extraordinary lives.